Have you recently thought, why is this so difficult? Why my relationship is so difficult? I thought that by now I'd be in this loving, beautiful relationship, but somehow it's not working. And you're not alone in this. So many couples start to asking themselves, especially as we go older, how come we're at this place where we're more like flatmates, where we feel disconnected from each other, where sexual intimacy feels like a chore? What if I told you that there's just one thing that you need to know that can shift everything in your relationship? And what if I told you that it's possible to get that spark back in your relationship? I'm Erotic, relationship therapist and an author of Deeply in Love Again. Welcome to this online workshop. 3 mistakes that couples in long-term relationships make that keep them feeling disconnected, unsupported, and frustrated. And so today I'll share with you the 3 mistakes that couples make, but more importantly, the keys that can change that. The 3 keys that you need to be aware of that can bring back that spark, that love, that intimacy, the connection. However, these keys are not the magic pill. What's important here is that you learn the keys and then you have to implement them. You actually have to follow through. So I recommend you take a notebook and then follow through. That's where the magic is gonna happen. You need to commit if you want to create the relationship that you really want. And I totally believe that relationships are here to make us grow so we can become better humans. And to become better humans, we actually need to put an effort into our relationships. And relationships is what makes us happy. So take a pen and paper, commit to this process. Please listen to the whole webinar because I'm going to be sharing so much with you. And I know if you implement, if you follow through, you can see amazing changes in your relationship. And so now let's go to the slides. Okay, so this is the webinar, Deeply in Love Again, Avoid 3 Common Mistakes Couples Make That Keep Them Feeling Disconnected, Unloved, and Frustrated. And I'm Erotic. This is the book that I wrote, Deeply in Love Again. And I know that you're awesome. I really appreciate you investing this time today and deciding to take your relationship to the next level. Because you're one of the few people who decided to prioritize and nurture their relationship. Yay to you. So many people just keep on staying dissatisfied and frustrated and they hope their partner is going to change. And hooray to you for actually doing this first step and doing it yourself. I know that there are so many distractions all around us, but this online workshop can really change your life. So I don't want you to miss a single crucial step. So please make a commitment to stay focused. You will learn more if you commit to listening and close off Facebook, stop checking your emails, turn off your cell phone. And only if you give me your complete attention, you'll be able to fully understand all the keys and then successfully implement them in your relationship. So please commit to listening. Take a notebook. I know that being in a long-term relationships, you might feel frustrated, unsupported, disconnected, maybe tired of constant arguments. And you might think that you can never make your partner happy. Or you might struggle with lack of emotional connection. Does any of this sound familiar? Can you relate to this? Maybe your relationship is okay, but you sense that there's more. You don't want to settle for less than an okay relationship. You want to experience deep heart-to-heart connection with your partner. Does this sound like you? Maybe your kids have grown up and you feel now is the time for you to focus on your relationship. How would that be for you to become lovers again? So by the end of this workshop, you'll learn 3 essential keys to enjoy more affection, to enjoy better sex life, and understand your partner better and know how to communicate to bring more love into your relationship. How does this sound? I love sharing these keys and I know that they can dramatically change your life. I work with a lot of couples in my practice and I know how we can actually quite easily change the way we relate and communicate with each other once we know what to do. Also, I'm going to bribe you to stay till the end. For those of you who stay till the end, you'll have a chance to win your relationship assessment session, and it's valued at $297. And I'll be giving away 3 of these very valuable sessions. The session will help you to understand what's really going on in your relationship, so you know the areas that you need to focus on to enjoy more love and affection. I really appreciate you investing your precious time here with me. That's why I'm doing that. It brings me so much joy to just see couples start looking at each other with that wink in their eyes. There's so much more love and intimacy that it really floats my boat. So for now, let's dream for a bit. So you know what's at stake here and why you should put your energy into changing your relationship. Because motivation and inspiration is so important in taking action. So maybe close your eyes, lower your gaze, and just imagine how would your life be Once you have all the support and affection that you want, when you have all the amazing sex that you want, how would your life be different? What would you do differently? Maybe you have kids. How would that be for your kids? How would you feel about yourself, about your partner? If you just imagine your partner looking at you lovingly, imagine coming home to your partner and he or she hugs you, looks at you with love, without any demands, without any complaints, but is right there for you, listening to you, wanting to know how your day been. Or maybe your ideal partner gives you plenty of space when you come home so you can transition into being at home. Imagine your partner happily giving you the space that you need. Imagine your partner happily giving you what you need. What will this do for you? Yeah. How will it affect your life? So now let's change the gears and see where the modern relationship world is at. So do you know that, and probably you know, that 50% of all marriages end in divorce, and 50 of them who stay married, only half of them say they're happy, which is, I think it's a really horrible statistic. It means only 25% of people are happy in their relationship. Then the 60% of second marriages end in divorce. So even though a lot of us think from time to time, if I get more loving or sexy or understanding whatever partner, I'd be so much happier, more than half of the time that just doesn't work. And the third marriages have even higher divorce rate, somewhere around 73%. We don't seem to be better off when we change partners. That's the statistic what that shows us. And my intention for this talk is to inspire you to take action and create a loving relationship for yourself. I'll be sharing some of the stories of my clients so you can see what's possible for you and know that you are not alone in your relationship challenges. It's so important to know. All client names and identifying details are changed to protect their privacy. So that's what you'll learn today. Why it's so difficult to communicate sometimes. The number one mistake that couples in committed relationship make that keep them feeling disconnected and frustrated, right and wrong communication methods. And one huge pointer that will increase intimacy and understanding in your relationship. Also, the B word that could be killing your relationship and how to remedy this immediately. And the powerful habit that happy couples practice. It has the potential to solve your relationship problems. I'll share with you as much as I can in the limited time we have together. And I'll promise by the end of the talk, if you feel like that you want more and you don't want to wait any longer, I'll just let you know how you can apply and work with me privately, because it's so important to have someone else there with us. I wonder, it's okay if I tell you a little bit about my story. I'll be very short, yeah, because we're going to be spending some time today. I come from Russia. I've been in New Zealand for 30 years, and I hope that you find my accent understandable, maybe even enjoyable. I started my professional career as a chartered accountant. Then at one point, I made a big leap of faith and I decided to become a therapist, female sexuality and relationship therapist. I traveled all around the world, countries like Greece, United States, India, Mexico, participated in lots of courses and learned what actually makes a relationship work. Then I got 2 degrees from university in New Zealand in psychotherapy and counseling. That's me at my graduation. I'm practicing my private therapy. I practice emotionally focused therapy as founded by Sue Johnson. She's brilliant. The amazing thing about EFT is that it really works. There's 70% success rate. It consistently shows really excellent follow-up results. And some studies show significant progress even after therapy ends, which is really amazing. When we can see that the progress continues after therapy, what can be better? So what I know is that if you're willing to do the work, then you can shift your relationship for the better. And of course, I can't fix your relationship for you. That's very important. You need to be willing and committed to do things differently. And that requires a lot of courage and self-responsibility. This problem, why many people prefer to lose their relationship rather than engage support of a therapist. This is the one thing that can really shift your relationship for the better. Taking responsibility and seeing what can I do differently. If I take all my focus away from my partner, of course we all want to change our partners, right? Well, if only he or she did things differently, it would be so amazing. But actually this is where we get stuck. So if you're willing to say, okay, what if I focus on myself and see what can I do differently? I am part of this relationship. What can I do differently? How can I communicate differently? How can I listen differently? Yeah, how can I be with them differently? That's what's going to change your relationship. And also EFT, emotionally focused therapy, has been proven to be successful across different kinds of clients and couples facing lots of other challenges such as depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. EFT works. It works really well, and it works across different populations, different problems. I'm also trained in Hakomi psychotherapy, and it's a body and mindfulness based approach. And I use Gottman therapy to clearly map out what's really going with the couple, and then we can design the best plan for you. And also, I add sacred sexuality, and I use sacred sexuality to help couples enjoy more fulfilling sex life if that's what they're looking for. Also, I practice trauma informed therapy. I work a lot with female sexuality. How can we awaken female sexual desire? And so if there are any difficult experiences you had in the past, we can deal with that. Very important mixture to change the way couples relate to each other and bring more joy, more love, more intimacy. I just love seeing my clients starting to shine and enjoy the relationship they never thought was possible. I know that some of my clients have been thinking of walking away from their relationship, and after our work, they have exceptional levels of joy, of connection, of love, and this really melts my heart. This is one of the stories from my clients, that the intimacy between us is so much deeper. Yeah. She said that our relationship was almost destroyed. And after working through the process, that she understands her husband so much better and so much more connected to herself. And the intimacy is so much deeper. And I wonder, what would that mean to you? How will your life be different? To enjoy more connection, to enjoy more support, more love. Are you ready for the same transformation? Are you ready to jump on board with me? The thing here is that we assume we should know how to have relationships that feel connected and loving. If we have difficulties in our relationship, we feel ashamed, we feel lost, and we feel like it's my fault. Have you felt this way? This one's of the biggest mistakes that couples make, thinking that they should know how to make relationships work, or that if things are difficult, it means that they're not meant to be together, or worse, judging themselves for not being able to make it work. Some couples even think that if they ask for help, it means they have failed. It means things are really bad and most probably will break up. This is not true. Most couples ask for help way too late. And would work so much better if something is not quite working, we ask for help right away. That would work so much better. Would make my job easier. And the thing is that happy couples learn how to make relationships work. They're curious how to become a better partner. And most of us just didn't have good role models. We don't know how to create more love. Most of the time, the driving desire of our parents, and especially our grandparents, to have a relationship wasn't to experience deep, intimate love. It was more for safety, for financial security, for raising our children. Yeah, so that was the era of old relationships. You get married, you have kids, you stay together your whole life because that's what you do. So relationships as a vehicle for safety raising kids are dying. I wonder if you see that as well. Because we're at the forefront of new kind of relationship based on love, on passion, on fulfillment. And what I call this is deep, intimate relating. This is a new era. Because we don't need our partners. We can survive on our own, even though sometimes it's a bit difficult with the kids, but still we don't have as much dependency as our grandparents had. So what it means is that now we need to nurture our connection and relate to one another in a way that keeps our love flowing. That is a relating rather than a relationship, not a fixed thing, but a relating, beautiful, intimate relating with each other. I know that we don't want to compromise, we don't want to settle for less, we don't want love and fulfillment. And so we keep on looking, we keep on feeling dissatisfied. But then we don't know how to sustain that level of love. In the old paradigm, there's no need to do anything to keep love and passion alive. It just kind of happens. I know that it can be quite overwhelming to try and figure out how to create this new level of deep, intimate relating on your own. Maybe you're at a stage where you start to feel powerless and hopeless that you could ever make it work for you. Is the love that I want really possible for me? Or you might be listening and thinking that actually everything is okay. But if there is no deep, intimate connection, it's very easy to lose our relationship because we don't want to feel dissatisfied, unfulfilled. So the longer you feel disconnected, the more you will drift apart, where eventually it might be really hard to revive the love. So the sooner you ask for help, the better it is. Please don't put it on the back burner. It's so important, hugely important. So if you're in a relationship, you're having problems, there are two choices. Choice one, learn how to make relationships intimate, connected, learn better ways of communicating with your partner, or you can wait for your partner to change. I know it kind of sounds funny as when I put it this way, but there's so many couples, so many people waiting for their partner to change. I'd say it's like 90% population waiting for their partner to change, and it's not going to happen. So I really highly recommend you to learn how to relate to your partner in a way that promotes understanding, love, connection, and then practice it. This is the most powerful way to get the love you desire and to be fulfilled and happy, because it gives you the power to create the relationship you desire rather than waiting for the love to happen in your life. It's so wonderful that you are here. And if both of you here, it's really amazing, because if both of you change the way you relate to each other, your relationship will be transformed. And if you're here without your partner, you still can change your relationship. Though, of course, it's easy if your partner is on board, but we can do so much more by ourselves as well. Because a relationship is a system. So if one part of the system changes its behavior, the other part has to change. It just has to happen this way. So never feel powerless, huh? You've got so much more power than you think. And yes, of course, there's another way, right? To change your relationship is to change your partner, who you might think is better suited for you. Although you might get amazing, intense passion in the beginning, with time, your new relationship is likely to come to the point of your previous one if you don't change the way you relate to your partner. The truth is, unless you learn how to authentically communicate, how to be there for your partner and keep the spark alive, you will not be able to experience deep and fulfilling intimacy with your partner to the full extent. Tragically, many people put their relationship very low on their priority list. And our relationship is what makes us happy. There's extensive research being done that observed people for the last 75 years and it's still going on. And the research found that it's not money or environment or where we come from or how much we achieve in life that makes us happy. It actually love in relationships. What's more, love in a relationship is the number one factor in predicting how healthy we are after 50. Imagine that. And even how good our memory is. Isn't it fascinating? So focus on the relationships is the number one factor that's actually gonna keep us happy. Being in stressful relationships causes decline in health and our overall happiness. I don't know why, but we've spent so much time focusing on our material life and work and put relationships to the side. Yeah, people say, when I get more time, I will pay attention to my relationship. Tragically, we rarely have more time. Like, I've got so many couples, they've been waiting and waiting when the kids grow up before they pay attention to the relationship, and then the kids leave and the relationship fall apart because one of the parties is completely burnt out, without love, without affection. I hope it's not you. I hope you're actually going to do something before you get to that point. And I think part of the problem is that people think they can't effectively change their relationship, that their partner is wrong or they're wrong. And the thing is, it's not true. You're not wrong, your partner is not wrong, and you can effectively change how much love and fulfillment you experience. You just need some support. And if you're just at the beginning of your relationship, to give you a clear roadmap to lasting and exciting love and adventure with your partner. And actually, the beginning of your relationship is the best time, yeah, to learn to receive support. Even if you're the only one, as I said, who wants to change your relationship, you can do that. Of course, your partner needs to be willing, party, yeah, but you can start the transformation. And of course, at some point, you might decide my partner is not willing, they're not stepping forward, then it's not the right relationship for me. But what's important, you'll know that you've done your best and you'll grow in the process. And this is the most important thing I want you to remember. You can change your relationship dynamic. You can experience more love and connection in your current relationship. Okay, how do we do that? Mistakes and corresponding keys from 3 to 1. So listen to the end, because the secret number 1 will completely change the way you look at your relationships. And not many people talk about this. In all the therapeutic world, this is the key number 1 is more coming from my sacred sexuality training, which is quite different from what you can do in a kind of mainstream therapy rooms. Remember that if you listen to the end, you will receive a chance to win your relationship assessment session. So, mistake number 3, that we are too different. And the corresponding key is that we need to celebrate our differences. You don't need to resolve all of your differences to be happy. This is the mistake so many couples make. They say, we are just too different, we are not meant to be together. Do you ever think this? Have you decided that you're too different and that's why your relationship can't work? Honestly. The relationship scientist John Gottman has done a lot of research with couples to find out what creates happy relationships and what makes a relationship fail. What he found out is that 69% of all problems couples have are perpetual problems, which means we can't resolve 69% of our differences. Fascinating, right? Does it mean that we're destined to be unhappy? No. The difference between loving and difficult relationships is in how couples handle these problems. They discuss them with humor, with positive energy, with acceptance. They don't usually trouble the couple. Love this trouble the couple. And then, right, we're in love again. If we can talk about them, we can agree to disagree. Yeah, we can have a different view. We don't have to actually resolve them, but we can talk about them and understand each other better, understand each other's point of view. And then we're in love. But if partners can't discuss these issues without explosive fights, or they tend to avoid these issues altogether, then these issues are gridlocked. Gottman couples research has shown that conversations about gridlock issues fail because partners' discussion just stays on the surface, when actually partners have hidden feelings, hidden beliefs that they don't share with each other. Sometimes they might not even consciously know that they're there for themselves, but they're so crucial for understanding and resolving these problems. It's not true that we need to break up or we can't be happy together because we can't resolve our differences. We're different. It's a fact that can bring a lot of excitement and creates deeper, powerful connection between partners. Would you want your partner to be exactly the same as you are? Have you wanted this? And now you're judging your partner because they're not like you. Quite often, the differences is what actually attracts us in the first place. Our differences bring variety, bring passion into the relationship. But you need to know how to discuss these differences, how to deepen your connection, and how to share your inner world with each other. So, how do we do that? The first step is to create a couple bubble. I highly recommend you start taking notes now. I'm teaching quite a lot here. And a couple bubble, it's a relationship expert, Dr. Stan Tetkin, he coined it. And I'll be calling this a couple love bubble. As with the pandemic, the bubble started to have a different connotation. So it's a couple love bubble. Why is that important? Because we need to feel safe, to be vulnerable and open. And this is how we create intimacy. So think about it. How likely you are to be open and vulnerable if you're not feeling safe? And would you prefer to feel safe with your partner, right? Stupid question, yeah? So when we're not sure if our partner is there for me, we fight over mundane problems like toilet seat, socks on the floor. And emotionally focused therapy and attachment theory support this perspective that it's not about the subject matter. It's about how safe and connected we feel. So that's what we really need to focus on. A couple love bubble is a sense of safety in your relationship, a sense that your partner has your back. It's your safe harbor where you can be yourself and you can be loved for who you are with both your dark and light sides. Wouldn't that be wonderful, huh? That's what we all want, huh? We all have a hardwired attachment system, and that's what drives our desire to connect, to bond. Love is that emotional connection with another. And a couple love bubble provides the emotional safety that allows the emotional connection to grow. And EFT work is focused on creating that love bubble. Creating that will help you to understand each other deeper feelings, and then it will make safe for you to show your deeper feelings. You'll still have disagreements, of course, right? It's inevitable, remember. But you will be able to create a deeper connection through your disagreements rather than fights. Doesn't sound great, huh? And so how do we go about creating a couple love bubble? First, you need to identify your sensitivities and your vulnerabilities, which I'll call your soft spots. A soft spot is a sensitivity, a kind of an emotional place in us that gets triggered and hurt quite easily. And usually our soft spots come out of our relationship with our parents when we were younger and more vulnerable, but also it can come from adult relationships. And I'll give you an example just in a couple of moments so you can understand this better. And people can have several soft spots, although one is usually the driving force behind most conflict in a couple. Then the next piece, the partner needs to identify their soft spots, and then you share that information with each other. And so next time when you notice your partner is off balance, you can figure out what touched him on her, and you can be your partner's safe harbor. And this way you become an expert on your partner, his or her best friend or confidant. And this is how you can deepen the relationship, how you can grow intimacy. You will become a safe person for your partner so he or she can share their vulnerabilities, knowing that you accept the whole package. So, for example, my soft spot is the feeling that I'm wrong. Still feel it to this day. And I know it comes from my parents wanting a boy, but somehow was born a girl. So, say, for example, when my partner asks me to hug him differently, or says that dinner is not so good, and my first reaction is to withdraw into my cave if I'm wrong, and then I break connection. When he knows my soft spot, he can come forward to me and find me in my cave and bring me back with humor and love. My awareness of this soft spot really helps me to come forward, to notice it, to be gentle with myself when I withdraw, talk to myself like that. No, I'm not wrong, but honestly, dinner was kind of bland, yeah? Or honestly, well, you could hug a bit differently, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It's not, my sense of worthiness is not tied up to the way I hug or cook. Another example, for example, Carol, she has a soft spot around being left alone or abandoned because her father left her family when she was 5 years old. So when her partner Chris doesn't call her when promised, or is too involved at work, or talks for a long time to other people at the party, she starts to feel abandoned. When they come home, she either gets angry at Chris for leaving the lights on, or other occasions she just shuts down and just stops talking to him. Once Carol shared her soft spot with Chris, he can notice when she's missing him, yeah? And the key for him is when she becomes angry or withdrawn. That's how he knows she's actually missing him. Then he can gently hug her and bring her back, and then he can go back to his conversation. What they actually found is that Carol doesn't need much to come out of her abandonment soft spot. She just needs to know that he's there for her. Even a warm look across the room is enough for her. So once we know each other's soft spots, it's actually way easier than we think to go back into connection. One more example, because I know that identifying our soft spots can be challenging. I worked with a therapist to find out my soft spots, and sometimes I just get surprised, like we don't know it. Sometimes it's quite an unconscious level. So to figure them out might take a bit of time. So John, he had a spot of not feeling good enough. This comes from his father trying to motivate John by telling him, you can do better, this is not good enough, you need to try harder. And also John's first life, she was quite critical and left him for a more successful man, according to John. So she reaffirmed John's feeling of not being good enough. In his current relationship with Sue, every time she brings up a subject of doing something more adventurous in their sexual life, John feels that Sue is telling him he's not good enough, and then he shuts down and he withdraws his affection and spends more time with his mates. Sue has no idea what happened, and she starts to feel abandoned. To handle her abandonment soft spot, Sue withdraws as well, right? And then they can stay in that withdrawn state for weeks. I wonder if this sounds familiar. So we kind of become like hedgehogs trying to protect our soft spots. I wonder, is this concept a bit clearer for you? And I hope you can understand it and you will identify some of yours and even maybe your partners. So please send me your questions if you're not sure. And that's what exactly we can help you with. Reflect on your relationship. Can you ask your partner, let him or her see when you need closeness or comfort? Is this easy for you or is this difficult? Or do you think it's a sign of weakness? Imagine how would it feel when you get upset or off balance, your partner is right there with you, showing understanding and support. How would that affect you if you knew that your partner has your back in those difficult moments? It does feel very comforting, very loving for me. I wonder, does it to you? And I know that my whole body opens up when I see my partner is being there for me when I need him, especially when I'm triggered, especially when it's difficult and my body wants to shut down. People in loving and supportive relationships can heal the sensitivities faster. That's another piece. We will continue having them, but they're not going to affect us as much. We can just bring some humor and some love, and they start to dissolve. So we need to soothe each other's hurts. But usually what we do, we put a needle into them and we tell our partners, just get over it. Be strong, stop whining, you're too needy. Thus, we remove the chance to heal, and no moreover, we keep on hurting each other more. We're often reluctant to share our vulnerabilities, right? From a young age, we're encouraged to get over it, to be strong and independent. We might be afraid that our partner will reject us if we show our soft spot, or that we might be afraid that we'll collapse. We won't be able to function in the world. We might think that our partner will use our vulnerability as a weapon against us. So we protect ourselves. Is this familiar? So then what we do, we pretend to be invulnerable at a price of enjoying deep and fulfilling intimacy. And because we judge ourselves for our vulnerability, we might judge others and our partner. We might refuse to acknowledge and soothe our partners when they show their vulnerability. And is this familiar for you? Of course, we can't just count on our partners to be there for us. We need to learn how to be there for ourselves. But it's so beautiful when we can be there for each other and we don't need to hurt each other more. I believe, and research shows, that it is more useful and transformative to be supportive when our partner is vulnerable. As a homework, have a conversation with your partner about your soft spots and ask them about this. It's important to find a good time to talk here. I want to share something with you. Is now a good time? If not, when? A good way to start this conversation is to say, this is hard for me to share, but recently I found out about my sensitivities and I'd love to share that with you. Couple research found that the first 3 minutes of conversation predict the outcome. So make sure you start softly with good intention. What kills the conversation is starting with blame. This is the B word that destroys relationships. So make sure you start with appreciating your partner for listening and sharing what's really going on for you without shame, without blame. But there's a caveat here. If your relationship is not in a very good place right now, you'd be better off having this conversation with the support of a therapist, because we're trained to help couples through difficult conversations and make sure they don't blame each other, criticize, or dismiss, because you need enough safety in your relationship to be able to navigate vulnerable conversations. So if you're in a really bad place, it's actually can be counterproductive to have those conversations. When you share your vulnerability, you need to count on your partner to be sensitive, to be accepting. If your partner is upset about something in your relationship, they're probably going to say something insensitive and hurtful, and then you're likely to feel hopeless and hurt. It's not because of what you say. That's important to understand. It's because you need some guidance in changing your communication partners, that your partner is hurt, and probably you need to listen to their hurt before they can listen to you. So that's where therapy really helps. There's way more you need to learn about creating your couple bubble. Things like beam gleam, answering the bits for connection, making conscious choices, and making your relationship a priority. These things are essential to your success as a couple. I don't have time, of course, to share today all of it. I hope what I've shared is enough. And let me know, how is this landing the couple love bubble? Is this helpful so far? Let's dream a bit again, and keep motivated. So how would it be for you to feel completely relaxed with your partner and accept it, and that they know who you are, your dark sides, your light sides, your soft sides? Imagine knowing that your partner has your back, that you can count on them when life gets tough. How would that change your life? So my invitation for you, start implementing what you learned today and make this your reality. I know it's possible. Now to mistake number 2, that love dies with time. And corresponding key is the longer the deeper, that long-term relationships have more depth and passion potential. The longer you stay in a relationship, the more fun and connection you can actually enjoy. Lots of people make this mistake thinking the only younger couple have passion and excitement. Here's a story of one of my clients. And Joe has been married to Richard for 29 years. They live in Auckland. They have 2 grown-up boys. One is in UK now. One is getting ready to start his own family. And this is what Joe says. At our first session, she said, I feel bored and stuck. We love each other. I know we love each other and we feel comfortable with each other. But what is this longing? As if I'm missing something. Everything became so joyless and mechanical. Yeah. Can you relate to that? And Jo felt so frustrated and dissatisfied. Her life became boring and mechanical, and she lost her sense of wonder, of excitement. She decided, this is it, I'm too old, and that's why this is happening. But by the end of our work, she says our relationship is so good now. There's so much more depth. And she says, when we were younger, we didn't have this amount of depth and intimacy. And now I feel confident in myself. I'm able to express a full range of my emotions. I'm able to express my love whenever I feel like it. I'm authentic. And I feel how I bring so much more depth, more of myself to our relationship. And that's the beauty that happens. The older we become, the more we know ourselves, the more depth we can bring to the relationship, more vulnerability, more love, because we learn so much through our life. Yeah. And so this is an important key. Don't believe that because we've been together for so long, that's why it becomes shallow. It's more about not being able to share your depth, your love with each other. How would it be for you to experience the depth and intimacy that you didn't even know you had before? That's what can happen in long-term relationships. And emotional connection, a sense of wonder is the door to real eroticism. That's why the more you know each other, the more connected and open you can be. It's no longer performance-oriented sex. For both men and women, emotional disengagement closes off richer dimensions of our sexuality. And young people who stay emotionally distant have more sexual partners, but they don't enjoy sex as much as those who are comfortable with getting close to each other. Research confirms this every time. And so in sex without deep emotional connection, there is excitement, but the passion is short-lived, and you need more and more stimulation and variety. The sexual experience becomes one-dimensional, and it focuses on physicality of sex. So people need more variety to sustain sexual desire. This variety can be in the form of new partners, new techniques, and people get hungry for more and more sensation, or sometimes our sexual desire just completely dies because this one-dimensional sexuality is not exciting for us anymore, as maybe it was when we were younger. So when we get older, the name of the game is deeper and deeper connection. How can I show myself more? How can I open up more? How can I provide a safe environment for my partner so he or she can open up more? It's like having these moments of deep intimacy layered that makes your connection more intense. You start to have more dimensions to your connection and go to places you never know existed before. And then we have Russian saying that to become friends, we need to eat 600 kilograms of salt together, and it takes years to eat that much salt. So the longer we stay together, the more salt we eat together, the more potent our connection becomes. But only if we continue opening up and exploring, because sometimes we just stay stuck. We're not exploring. It's all the same. When couples stop opening up, then they feel like we've grown apart. Yeah, there's nothing new. There's no new life. I believe that we've grown apart comes from not sharing the vulnerability, not fully engaging with your partner. So here is another story of my clients to show you what can happen once you put focus on your relationship. This woman says, Barbara, she says, in all 14 years of our marriage, I never felt so much love and intimacy. She said, I was so tired and I started to wait for the night to come in the morning. My relationship with my husband was good, but we didn't have much excitement, and I thought it was because of our children and not enough time. And then how wrong I was, that the work changed my relationship so profoundly. Our love is so much deeper now. The intimacy we created is beyond all words. And somehow we even have more time for each other. We're smiling more, we're more relaxed. So that's what's possible. I know it's really possible to get that spark back, to get more fulfillment in a long-term relationship. What this couple experiences is quite simply blissful sex, right? The emotional connection, the responsiveness to each other, tender touch, eroticism, all mixed together. Let's play imagining game again. Just for a moment, imagine yourself saying, the intimacy we have is beyond all words. How would that feel? Would you want that somehow you have more time for each other? How would that affect your life? And what happened for this couple is that they've created a secure emotional connection, and then they started to explore the depth of their relating. They started to feel so comfortable with each other that they were able to bring more newness and variety into their lovemaking. That's what really made a shift for them. So when you have that secure emotional connection, you have a lasting passion that will grow as your emotional connection grows, because you're willing to explore, you're willing to play. You can allow yourself to be tender, to be playful, to be erotic, to be fiery. You can allow yourself to surrender, to explore your depth, to open up deeper and deeper. You become more tuned to each other. You sense each other's inner state so you can respond to your partner. Give them more pleasure so they have never enough of you. You have an opportunity also to experience multidimensional connection with your partner, physical, emotional, sexual, and even spiritual. So if you lost the spark in your relationship, ask yourself, how emotionally connected do I feel on a scale from 1 to 10? How emotionally connected do you think your partner feels on a scale from 1 to 10? If there's distance, you need to work on enhancing your connection. Going back to key number 1, creating a couple love bubble will help you with this. And yes, of course, we still need variety, We humans have two vitally important conflicting needs: safety or certainty, and variety or uncertainty. And the attraction exists in the space between us. I know some people ideal is to do everything with their partner, but then what happens is you become so familiar that there is no separation and no space for the attraction to exist. So you need to learn this dance of keeping the emotional connection and allowing the space to exist between the two of you. Being your own person, allowing your partner to be their own person. This is the trick. Are you excited to explore this? Another thing I want to note here is that when we don't feel safe or loved, we might use sex to feel valued and worthy. But this can be quite a turn off for our partners, because then they feel the heaviness of it. When we use sex to reduce our anxiety, it's not erotic, and it becomes hard for our partner to be turned on. When our partner is not turned on, we might become even more upset, more anxious, right? And then we might try to perform, to please, or demand sex from our partners. And then it becomes this cycle of a turn off. So ask yourself, do I use sex to feel worthy or to reduce my anxiety? And if you do, your partner is probably not as keen to have sex. Here is another story, like I feel like I was given a new life. I can't believe my relation with my husband changed so much. We're again in love as 20 years ago, but now this feels so much deeper. Wonderful, right? Again in love, and it feels much deeper. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, that long-term relationships have more possibility of depth. At this point, you might be thinking, yeah, it's awesome for Suzanne, but that's not going to happen for me. We're so stuck. There's no way in a million years we can overcome and fall in love again. But if you have asked Susan before she worked on your relationship, she probably would have same suspicion. And if you focus on your relationship, there's no way to know where you will be 6 months from now. So again, you need to create safety, work on emotional connection if you want to have more depth and adventure together. And also you need to create plenty of opportunities for soft, nurturing touch to feel your need for care and love and not use sex for that. Because quite often we're obsessed with sex when we don't get enough touch. Sex becomes the only place we get touch. Touch is one of our vital needs. Children's brain development slows down when they don't get enough touch. So once you fill up your touch tanks and feel safe and connected, then you can enjoy the freedom of passionate lovemaking. Then you can be fully present for your partner, your own feelings, your own sensations. It's like, when we're too hungry, we don't quite taste the food, right? So here are some questions for you to reflect on. Are you exploring with your partner? Are you stuck in a routine and lost all sense of wonder? Are you feeling emotionally connected? How can you bring more caring and loving touch? And what can you do today to break the routine? Now to mistake number 1 and corresponding key number 1. Are you ready to learn more? Now we've been sitting for a while. Maybe you can, let's have a stretch, yeah? Maybe move your shoulders, your head, your neck. Take a couple of deep breaths. Yeah, have a stretch. Oh. Now we need to move our bodies, huh? Now let's go to the secret sauce. So secret sauce, and what is it? Are you ready to find out? So mistake number 1 is becoming mates. Striving for safety and becoming mates. Key number 1 is the secret sauce to lasting passion is to bring more polarity into your relationship, to activate your magnets. Let me explain this. What I found from working with lots of different couples that with time, couples become more like mates rather than lovers. And I wonder if you relate to this. Is this happening in your relationship? Often I hear couples saying, we are more like flatmates now. We function together, take care of our kids. And it's like our to-do list and responsibilities took over. There's no space for love, no space for playfulness. It's scary and joyless. So why is this aspect so important? Because to enjoy blissful lovemaking and create lasting, passionate love, we need to activate our magnets. We need to bring more polarity into our relationships. And this is what you want, right? Keep your love alive. Will keep you excited about being with your partner. David Dada talks a lot about this, so I learned a lot from him. You can read more of his books. Usually what needs to happen is that women need to connect more to their radiance, to their aliveness, to their sensuality. That's what I teach women in my 3 months, Become a Sexually Empowered Radiant Woman course. If you want to know more, just email me. But that's what a woman can do by herself. A man usually needs to step more into their sense of purpose and direction and learn how to be present in the face of an emotional storm that feminine energy can bring up. And in the same-sex relationships, usually one partner takes more of a masculine energy and need to step more into their sense of purpose, and the other partner usually takes on radiance and sensuality pole of energy. To simplify, I'm using men and women here, but more accurately it would be to use masculine and feminine polarity, as both men and women have masculine and feminine polarity. And yes, there are some women who have more masculine energy and some men who naturally got more feminine energy. So bringing more polarity applies to all of the relationship variations. I find that nowadays we're really confused about what it means to be feminine, to be masculine. We have so much on our plates that we disconnect from our innate nature. We become too similar in our energy, and that's exactly how passion goes away. That's how we become mates, not lovers. That's really sad, right? So to create lasting passion, we need to understand masculine and feminine energies, and then we need to practice cultivating those energies in ourselves. That's what's going to bring more polarity. This is an active practice. It won't just happen by itself. If you feel that spark is gone, it's not because you need a new partner, it's because you don't actively practice polarizing your energies. To simplify, one partner needs to be more driving, directional energy, and the other one needs to embody more flow, more openness. That's the question. For masculine energy, how can I be more present and more conscious in my life, especially with my partner? And for the feminine energy, the question is, how can I open up more? How can I love more? How can I show my love more? How can I soften more and bring my radiance forward? Of course, it's always fun to swap the energies and consciously play a different role. Sometimes I like playing with the masculine energy. It's all your choice. I'm not talking here about life in general. I'm specifically talking about sexual interactions with your partner. And of course, in work life, we all need to know how to focus and be direct. For me to create this webinar for you, I had to use my masculine energy. To rest, we all need to go into flow and letting go. But I wonder, are you aware of the differences in masculine and feminine energies? Or do you subscribe to a belief that we're all the same and there shouldn't be any differences? As far as I know, everywhere in nature we see clearly defined feminine and masculine energies where are different. So please don't confuse polarity with gender equality. Yes, we all should have equal rights and opportunities and expression. Polarity is actually what brings us more joy, more playfulness. And now if we do a little practice, remember different experience, notice how it affects your body. Maybe you had an argument with someone, with your partner. If you want to practice feminine polarity, what I invite you to do as you feel the difficult experience, if you just start softening, you soften your lips, soften your throat, soften your heart, soften your belly, soften your genitals, and see if you can allow the emotions to flow through from the softer place, not trying to shift or change anything, just softening. If you're masculine polarity, yeah, remembering the difficult experience, notice how it affects you, and then just focus on the part that's always there, that internal calm, internal quiet, the parts that's always there, that consciousness. That's the masculine practice for masculine polarity. I can tell you a lot about polarity, and if you want to learn more, I really recommend reading David Daly's books. I also know that reading about polarity is not enough. You actually need to experience it to bring more passion to your relationship. This is what I support women to drop into their feminine polarity more, and I support couples with the work I do. This is where my sacred sexuality training comes in. It's the difference that I offer, as you won't find many relationship therapists talking about polarity. I teach my clients exercises to connect to their innate nature, activate their magnets. So in the limited time we have together, I hope you got aware of why you might be feeling a bit bored, a bit dissatisfied in your relationship. And as I said in the beginning, I'll try to give you as much as I can today. And if you resonate with what I shared today and want to improve your relationship, I offer you a complimentary 1 hour Get the Love You Desire breakthrough session with me over Zoom. And I only have 3 spaces because I've got a full practice. And please book your time here as soon as you can. During the session, you'll understand what exactly needs to be changed in your relationship and what you can do about it. We'll look at specific steps you need to take to create more polarity, more harmony in your relationship so you can enjoy that lasting love. Here's just another story from one of my clients, and then we activated her feminine energy. She says her normal Kiwi blog started to be romantic. She said it all boiled down to me not feeling feminine, not being in touch with my girliness, with my romantic side. How can I expect a romance from him? That's an important piece that as women we can do. It's so important to connect to our feminine radiance to create more polarity. So far we covered 3 mistakes, 3 keys, which are celebrate your differences, the longer the deeper, and polarity. And let me ask you a question. Now, this knowledge is really good, right? We had a good time over the last hour, and you've learned some very important concepts. And I try to deliver as much as I can in this limited time. But I know the hour is not quite long enough. I teach women over 3 months. You might be feeling hopeful and excited. You might be thinking, how can I implement all of this in my relationship? How can I make it work for myself? It's very important to actually take steps. Don't pull your relationship on the back burner. Don't make this another webinar that you just listen to and never implement. That's why I'd love to invite you to have the Get the Love You Desire breakthrough session, because then you can really get my support to implement it in your relationship. And I know every relationship is unique. What we can do is that you don't let your feelings hurt anymore. And then you can enjoy all the sex you want. And you can stop arguing, and instead make love. Go to deeplyinloveagain.com to apply. It's totally free. And also you can email me at tarisha@deeplyinloveagain.com to apply. I just wonder how many books you read, right, on how to improve your relationship, how many webinars you attended, and have things really changed for you. From my experience and that of my clients, just reading books, trying to implement things by yourself just doesn't work. This is one of the most important things you need to do for your relationship. If you're in a difficult place with your partner, get support to transform your relationship. Get someone to identify and change your negative cycle. Because once you get into the negative cycle, it's really difficult to get out of it by yourself. I'd love to support you on your journey to more love, more connection, more playfulness, more fulfilling conversations. So do email me, tarisha@deeplyinloveagain.com, or you can go to the website, deeplyinloveagain.com, and you can share your free session. But only if you're really serious about changing your relationship for the better. Then we can create an action step for you. Also, here is the gift, since you've been here till the end, to win a relationship assessment session, which includes detailed questionnaire plus a 90-minute session with me to discuss results and create your next step action plan. If you email me and put in the subject line win love, and then you can win the relationship assessment session. I have limited spaces available, so do email me right away, and then we can be on the call and we can talk about what's happening for you in your relationship. I know if both of you are listening, it's wonderful, and even if you are here by yourself, you can still change your relationship for the better. That's what I do in my work with the clients. We change your negative cycle, we identify painful communication patterns, and then you can understand how can actually change that into a positive cycle that creates more connection, more understanding. And then share with your partner what you need in a way that they can hear and they can respond positively. And also how to find a way to bring more emotional connection with your partner and update your communication so you understand each other better. And of course, create satisfying sex life. That's one of the topics I really love to talk about. And how to nurture your relationship so that your relationship nurtures you. Yeah, your relationship supports you. But first, you need to put energy into your relationship. Some people use a lot of excuses to keep themselves in a stuck place. Like, I don't have enough time. We need to wait when our kids grow older. But what really matters is our happiness, right? Deeply satisfying, loving relationships bring us happiness. So you do need to invest time and care into your relationship to enjoy a happy life. If not now, when? So please implement, get support. And if you don't resonate with me, that's okay. Find someone else who can support you. I would highly recommend engaging emotionally focused therapist. To apply to work with me, you can apply for complimentary session and email me, tarisha@deeplyinloveagain.com, or you can apply online. I'm gifting this session because I know that some of you will decide to work with me further, and some of you will get a lot of value just from that 1 hour. So there are no strings attached. If you're fit and you want to work with me further and I want to work with you further, then we can work further. Otherwise, it'll be just 1 hour with me. My invitation for you is don't hope for love. Cause it to happen in your life, because I know you're that powerful. If you have any questions, please email me. Big hug, and I'll see you hopefully soon. Bye.